All right, hello Magic City, and welcome to the Rick and Morty panel with Dan Harmon and Dino. They are the questionable brains behind Rick and Morty, so give them a round of applause.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't really work on Rick and Morty. I like to get that out of the way. I've seen a couple of episodes.
You like it?
Yeah. It's
nice.
like The Simpsons, only crazy, right?
Yeah. Anybody watch any of Dino's shows, Moral Oral or Frankenhole? I've never seen those.
Yeah. There was a line that came up from Community that Starburns apparently said that I didn't even know I said it because it was in his will, and I never read it or watched that episode.
Yeah, he never watched Community. He was just in it.
Yeah.
So now that we got that out of the way,
we hate each other.
just
Sorry.
our work.
Hey, no.
You're supposed to ask the questions.
They're supposed to ask the questions, but I think we should talk about some other things you guys are working on that aren't Rick and Morty.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything is at Starburns Industries. The chef, Scott Adsit, I think, designed this chef. It's a very original.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott Adsit from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, we do a lot of projects besides Rick and Morty. We have a stop motion movie out right now, Charlie Kaufman's Anomalisa, which I don't even know if it's in Florida. Anywhere in Florida, anywhere in Miami, is it playing here? Do you know? Anomalisa? Forget it. You're not even listening.
Is Anomalisa playing in theaters anywhere in Florida?
That is true. It is a cultural wasteland.
It's playing at the Cultural Wasteland? I like that place.
Welcome.
A lot of self-loathing in Florida.
Yeah.
People are very, very, very nice here. A lot of fans of Rick and Morty, and everyone apologizes for being from Florida.
Yeah.
As they should.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
You can just check out the...
Fuck you! Sorry, there's a lot of kids. I should watch my mouth. The first question. It's going to be, why do you swear so much?
If I was only going by the people that I had talked to, I would think it was the nicest place in the world. But based on what they tell me,
Well, that's the difference between you and me. You like cheering, I like booze. So I think everyone sucks here.
Well, they agree with that, but
Should we take question one?
sure.
Yeah.
I bet it's about Anomalisa.
Yeah.
Hang on, we're gonna get his mic. Having some microphone issues. There we go.
Hello, there we go.
Hello.
Hi, little guy.
I have 3 questions about Rick and Morty.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
It's a very popular show, you know.
I know.
Setting yourself up for disappointment.
Because we do have a long line, though, we can only stick to one question per person, so probably pick your worst one.
What was your inspiration to make Rick and Morty before you made that Channel 21 cartoon?
Well, it was. I'm assuming you're not Robert Zemeckis' lawyer, and God knows he wouldn't come to a cultural wasteland. So I think it's safe to tell you that that Channel 101 cartoon you're referring to that you should not have watched. You probably shouldn't be watching the show on Adult Swim. You're just a little baby Pikachu. But maybe your parents are super cool and or like self-destructive, and that's fine.
Neglectful, probably.
My parents let me watch all kinds of crazy crap, and then look at me now, Mom. But it was just, Justin had just gotten off of a job that I can't remember what it was for. He was working for someone else's cartoon. It was a long job. He worked really hard on it. It was for someone else. He didn't believe in the show. He felt very creatively stifled. And so when he got finished with it, he just threw what is like a creative tantrum. by making the Channel 101 Doc and Marty cartoon, which was just a vandalism of Back to the Future, which he loved, so he wanted to destroy something beautiful, to quote another movie that you shouldn't be watching, back to Fight Club. Check it out. You'll love it. It ends with skyscrapers blowing up. What a great thing. That was it. I mean, it was Back to the Future turned into that thing, and then that thing turned into him just liking doing those voices. And so when Adult Swim called me to do a cartoon, I said to him, let's do something. And he suggested, what about those guys, those voices? And I said, great. That's it.
That's a lot.
Yep.
Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, I bet this is an Anomalisa question.
Yeah, I really wish I could see that movie. It sounds great. I heard a review of it on NPR. But first off, thank you for making the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the end scene just before the credits, season 2, episode 3. The attempted suicide.
That's season 2. Okay, yeah.
That was
You're
incredible. Really hit home, and when you find yourself relating to Rick on the show more than any other character, it's a real good wake-up call.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if his ex-wife is gonna be in the next season, but that's probably something you can't answer.
Let me think about how to answer that. There will be more about that.
Okay.
About Rick's ex-wife,
So-
Beth's mother. You guys applaud that as if you don't know that would be a huge shark jump to learn everything you could possibly learn about Rick. But we're very aware of that, and it's like that's a tightrope you walk with a character like him. We're gonna address that more, but hopefully without jumping the shark.
And hopefully at some point Jerry gets redemption. But for Dino, Moral Oral is one of my favorite shows of all time. I was not expecting the show to take the route that it did, and from what I've heard from your interviews, neither were the executives at William Street.
Yeah.
So if you were given the opportunity to pick up and complete your vision of Moral Oral, would you take it, and what would it look and feel like?
I don't think at this point, we talked a little bit about it. Actually, Dan pitched the next level of Moral Oral to Mike Lazo. And
Which would be just doing animation in the same style, but saying that Oral grew up to basically be Dino, and now had like a millennial kid who, by virtue of being a millennial, was as kind of obnoxious as Oral was, but not necessarily Christian, but that now Oral was just sort of a dirtbag that loved stop motion and worked in Hollywood.
I would, I have a problem with that only because I like Oral and I wouldn't want to turn him into me.
Well, everybody else likes you, so that would be neat. But I pitched it to the head of Adult Swim, and he said, all right, let's do it. Tell Dino I bought it in the room. And then I told Dino, he's like, I don't know how to write that.
I can't write about me.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
As much as I love the show Rick and Morty, which I really do, I wanted to know what was sort of like the original base idea for the show Community.
Well, that was based on an actual experience that I had. At 32, I went to community college in a suburb of Los Angeles called Glendale. And I was taking biology and psychology and Spanish. And I was getting really high grades in biology because I was 32 and was doing it for fun. And then there were these kids who were like struggling and with full-time jobs, and they noticed that I was acing all the exams and they wanted to study with me. And I thought, I don't want to study with these people, but I didn't know how to say no. So I showed up to this little tiny study room in the library. And then halfway through it, I got really excited. I was like, I like these guys. I hope they pass their exam. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm such a dick. That I've never cared about strangers, that didn't have anything to do with my movie writing career or TV. And I was like, wow, that's pretty late blooming. I bet everybody else here would call that just normal emotional things, and I'm calling it like this crazy thing. So I thought I bookmarked that and thought this is the kind of, if there's a sitcom in me that's not like a sci-fi show, then maybe it's this. That was the origin of it.
And then you went through your phone to pick characters, right?
Yeah.
You gotta do that.
That's what I always tend to do. Yeah. But someone else will have to ask that question.
Oh, right.
Right. Thank you. And I love Starburns.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
New season, when is it coming out?
I think season 3 is, I believe we're targeting around the end of this year. But you guys do realize we're at the beginning of this year. Oh, you guys are conditioned by Rick and Morty and Adult Swim. That's nice. You would cheer that. I keep answering that question and like bracing, but everyone's like, "Oh, that's great. That's 2 years earlier than I thought."
But there's more good news. It's not just 10.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say
Oh, I
that.
thought you said it yesterday.
Well, I said it to one person.
Oh.
Is there any press here? Nobody blog about this. I think we're doing 14 episodes this year.
I have one more. Hallucinogens. Any part in this?
Hallucinogens. No, I'll prefix this by saying kids don't do drugs.
He doesn't need any, believe me.
But but just in the interest of transparency and documentation of what I consider to be a great show, Justin and I split a Ritalin to write the pilot script. We wrote it in like 4 hours. One of us wrote one act, and then the other wrote the other act, and then we kind of switched.
It really helped because usually they run around, they're just like, they're obnoxious and they break things. And the Ritalin really helped calm them down.
Yeah, really.
They were good boys.
Helps
when
us
they wrote
focus. That's why I have an Adderall prescription, because I have such an attention deficit. No hallucinogens have been involved in the writing of Rick and Morty so far.
Thank you.
I do a lot, and I don't write anything.
Hi.
What's a hallucinogen? I'm sorry. It's like Santa Claus's friend. Go ahead.
Would you consider Rick and Morty one of the best shows you've made?
Yes, I would. Straight answer for a straight question. No, I'm very, very proud of it. I will say, it feels like I get the gut feeling that more people watch it than Community. But that may be a distortion of various things. Like I think those stupid Nielsen numbers that don't mean anything because it was a network show. But all I know is that I wear a lot of Rick and Morty shirts. I didn't wear a lot of Community shirts, like that one, and I get so much more. I've had so many conversations with people who just see the shirt and they don't know anything about me. They don't know my name. They don't know my face. So they just go, "Oh, cool shirt. I love that show." And they'll just start talking about the show. And I can just have a conversation with them as a fan. And that never happened with Community because I obnoxiously made myself famous, more famous than the show. And so that makes me feel like Rick and Morty is like a bigger deal for people. And God knows I am really, really, really proud of it.
And also, do you like the shirt?
I do like the shirt.
Thank you.
I like it too.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask, what do you think? Would you consider your favorite episode to work on of Rick and Morty?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Every episode is a different baby and has a different there was some. The ones that suck are the ones where you have to do something. So because then if you get stuck, you have to stay stuck. You can't just do something else. So you know how this last season ended with a kind of a cliffhanger. We didn't want to do that originally. We thought that was a bad way to end a season. So the original intention was to do that episode and end it that way, and then have the very last episode of season 2 be the second part of a 2-parter. But it was so hard to write the second part of the 2-parter because things had to happen, and we couldn't figure out how to make them happen. Halfway into it, so frustrated and we were so behind schedule. We had been talking the whole season about. I had seen the movie The Purge, and it reminded me of the Star Trek. There's a Star Trek episode that Ben Stiller's company is named after, Red Hour. You know, Ben Stiller's company is called Red Hour. That's a reference to a Star Trek episode. It's also about a society that like purges itself. It's like a sci-fi trope. And I had been saying we should do one of those. We should just have him go to a planet and have Rick go, "It's a purge planet, Morty. It's a purge planet," and just go. And so we got so stuck on that last episode. So I know it seems like I'm not answering your question, but I am, because that was my least favorite episode to write, was the finale that never got written because it was impossible to write. My most favorite then, of course, is the release from that, which is the Purge one, because I wrote it in like 20 minutes because it was like, I was so mad I purged. Like I was just like, screw it. And just like wrote it like almost sarcastically, faster than you could watch the show. I wrote, the pages were flying out. And then we just revised it a little bit and aired it. It was great. I think that was my favorite to write. I don't know if it was my favorite episode looking at it. I think one of my favorite episodes is the Unity episode where we meet Rick's ex-lover.
Thank you.
And I like your shirt. Keep them coming.
Hi. I was wondering, do you guys anytime like feel as artists that people are not asking the right questions about, like they're I'm getting a little mixed up, sorry.
No, you're just getting very meta.
No, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you want to say, yeah, like this question, right?
I don't know, maybe.
Have you ever been asked a question that blew your mind? Whoa.
No, yeah, like, do you ever feel like you write something and you don't, like people interpret something about the work, but it's not really what you wanted to say?
Oh God, yeah, constantly. That's just a thing. Like that's not, and you're not. I think, and getting upset about that is called pretentiousness. It's because it's not your job to eat the food you make for people. You know, like that archetype of the chef that someone asks for mustard with their filet mignon, and the chef comes out and goes, "No mustard, no mustard. You're eating wrong." I mean, he has his reasons. Does he know more about food? Great, whatever. But at a certain point, you have to figure you're defeating the purpose. But yeah, no, everything is misinterpreted. The crazy thing is how much credit you get as a genius for some reference that you never made to something that was connected to something that, and then you look and go, oh, I didn't even, no, that was a coincidence. But now they think that we were setting something up and so whatever. But then also there's just sort of like, what is the big example? There's one that kind of like irks me all the time. Which was, oh God, it's just.
While you're thinking, I'll say that.
Okay.
I'll find that very obvious jokes that I think are obvious and that aren't. People just don't get jokes that I thought were very obvious. So that's always interesting to me. Probably just means I'm a bad writer, too. But do you think of yours?
Yeah, I know that it has something to do with the end of an episode, and this happens a lot where we'll just do random things, and then it's typical of like, I don't know if I buy into the whole millennials are different from Gen X and all that stuff, but I think just as you get older, your brain dies and kids are different and all the time, but it feels like the perception of irony and absurdity are a little different these days for a generation that gets a fire hose of information to the face every day. And like doing kind of just dry, absurd, this is funny because it makes no sense stuff. There's kind of no, that often people on Reddit, they come up with the craziest explanations for jokes that are just like, no, it's funny because it's just the word pickle. It's just random. And I can't. I know there's a really specific example, and I just can't think of it. But I just don't. I don't read stuff anymore, and I don't think people want me to. I used to interact with the online community when community was happening. I lived by that sword, and then ultimately I got hurt by it. Like it caused just as much damage as I think it did help. And so now that I don't need that to like bolster an underdog show through guerrilla marketing by making myself a demagogue online, Rick and Morty I prefer to just let be, and I think fandoms like to just own a thing and own it by themselves. Like me coming in like Aaron Sorkin and being like, "What's up, people?" That's my impression of Aaron Sorkin. I think people go like, "Oh, it's so cool that you're here. Why are you here?" And everything starts to get weird. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. First, thanks so much for coming, and rest in peace, bird person. Obviously. I just kind of wanted to shoot a question out to the both of you here. In terms of being a showrunner and being kind of like the creative head of a show and things like that, and dealing with that sort of stress, how do you really go about that and managing all that and still trying to like have your point come across in a show, if that makes any sense?
I've always had. I think if I had to do it by myself, my career would have been over a long time ago. Also, if I had to do it in an age before the golden age of television, I would have never had a career because I would have been an intolerable jackass. Because I'm not good at the delegation, time budgeting, regular budgeting. I had Neil Goldman and Garrett Donovan from 8 years of Scrubs experience who were right next to me and underneath me, depending on what argument we were having, for Community. Then Chris McKenna came into Community, and he was like my right hand and became the right half of my body. And he's just a better leader. And then on Rick and Morty, it's Justin, because Justin is not only a genius and a crazy person, he has all that magic, but he's also a shockingly responsible leader. He really understands the animation pipeline. He's loved animation his whole life, so he gets it. He manages every aspect. If it were Community, the things that Justin would do would be, he would not only be in the writer's room, he would be in the edit bay and on set. On Rick and Morty, I'm just in the writer's room, and then I go into the edit bay at the very last minute. Like, Justin takes care of so much and really leads that show. So to answer your question, I don't do it. I don't balance those roles. I'm at my best alone, really.
Yeah, I don't do it either, and I think like with my shows, Moral Oral and Frankenhole, I farmed out a couple of scripts, but for the most part, I just don't know how to get my point across to other people, and I ended up writing most of them on my own, and those that I did farm out, I would take it and I go, oh, well, that's not really what I wanted, but that's okay, paid them, and then just went and rewrote it.
Yeah. And as far as like I don't remember people's names and faces, so that makes for really bad like morale if I were to walk into the animation area where they're drawing the show. Hey, Susan. Nope. Okay.
It's Bob.
But yeah, that's yep. I also don't know how to answer questions and bring them to a conclusion.
I know we should never have a show together. Really. It'd be a mess.
Yeah, it's like a Jekyll and Jekyll.
Yeah.
Or wait, Hyde and Hyde.
Hyde and Hyde.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks. And sorry.
Hi, guys. It's really nice to see you guys today. I just have one question. Who's your favorite character in Rick and Morty, and why is it Mr. Meeseeks?
I do love Mr. Meeseeks because he's not really a character. He's a phenomenon. Do I have to have it be Mr. Meeseeks?
No.
Okay, you just wanted to provide your own answer.
I have seen Rick and Morty. Of course, Rick is my favorite character.
Yeah, I mean Rick's the best. Let's assume we don't use that one, and I'll say.
Oh, great. All right, I really haven't seen it. I like the dad, how insecure he is.
Yeah, I like Jerry. Yeah. I mean, I really like. I have a lot of affection for Beth because I feel like Beth is infected with Rick's narcissism and her fetishization of exceptionality, but she's not particular. She's not Rick, and so I just feel really bad for her. But at the same time, like I relate to her and I look up to her, and I feel like she's real, and I'm kind of in love with her.
Yeah, she's a really grounded character. She's
Yeah.
like very realistic. I agree.
You dropped your chapstick.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love Summer for totally different reasons. Actually, Summer, the reason I love her is because Spencer Grammer does such an amazing job. She really created a dimensional character out of what we knew from the beginning was just, all we knew is, she's just his older sister, so she just talks like this, and oh my God, and we intentionally just said, let's just start with that and see if the actor can do anything with it.
It's amazing what voice actors could bring. I certainly didn't know the full extent of how three-dimensional the characters would become in my shows, and the voiceover actors really bring a lot to
And
that.
sometimes it's just the way that they inflect words. I feel like when writers say, oh, this actor really brought new life to the character and took us in this direction, sometimes we assume that means that they improvise or make up new stuff or came in with a tattoo of the character's biography on their arm. It could really just be they just do their job and read the lines as written. But when they do it and you finally hear the character alive, you all of a sudden know what her favorite food is and where she's coming from, her point of view. She starts to come alive, and that's interesting. It's not a question you asked, but I answered it. Mr. Meeseeks.
Thank you.
My question is Mr. Poopy Butthole coming back?
I was just chuckling in case anybody's in the exhibit hall that's doesn't know the show. I was like, I wonder if it's any good and I should check it out. Hey, what about Mr. Poopy Butthole? Well, the thing about him is, Mr. Poopy Butthole, I can't.
Poopy Butthole. Yeah.
I can't. How did you come up with that name? I can't. I can't say for sure. I can't. Sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'll do everything I can to make it happen. I know people.
He'll find you later and tell you.
You know he
can't keep his mouth shut.
He's in the video game. Did you download Pocket Mortys for the iOS? So one of the first people you see is Mr. Poopy Butthole. He gives you little hints about how to play the game.
There's someone really wants to say something over there.
You want to say something?
What?
All right.
It
It just seemed like that person was following their heart, and I wanted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hey guys, thanks for coming to our little corner of the country. Congrats on your success with Pocket Morty and the AIDS research, the AIDS Foundation you're doing for research and stuff. So actually, by the way, Dino, Anomalisa is playing at Regal South Beach at 10:30, 7:30, and 4 o'clock. So I answer your question.
See? All right, go see it.
Thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
It's not a feel-good film, but
no worry,
check
I'll
it
feel
out.
good after I start crying. So, question actually, do you foresee any continuity problems with Rick and Morty? Because, for example, and not to ruin it for people who haven't seen it yet, season 1 had a lot of characters, and some of those characters didn't die, but they're not in season 2, and which may be why you're having 14 episodes, quote unquote, for season 3. But how long do you think you can ride this? How long do you think the how long do you think the show is gonna last, and are you gonna be able to address all those continuity issues?
Well, the way I think about stuff like that is that it's always there. It's cool when it's there. It's cool if you can use it. When you start to write toward it is when the fun meter starts running out, and because you just get bogged down in plot mechanics. I feel like audiences, especially a sci-fi audience, they're like a render farm of thought about shows, and they connect dots, and they can make charts of canon and stuff like that, and that's what they should do, and we can actually benefit from that and observe that they're keeping track of certain details. But when we start sitting there in the writer's room and going, and we have done it, you're talking about Cronenberg World and how the fact that that there's a real Jerry and a real Beth and a real Summer that were in season 1, or part of it, and they're still there. We have numerous times when I mentioned earlier that finale that we never wrote. There was a huge Cronenberg part where Morty ends up back there and having dinner with his old family. And it just kind of, it was like, why are we doing this? Is there any point to it that's going to give us new insight into Morty or anything like that? And that things have to stand the test of that. So we like Rick being a character that for whom anything is possible. The episodes are never about, he needs to be able to do that because, as we all know, Rick can only turn green when the moon is full. So what if the moon was cut in half? Oh no, how will he turn green? There's some narratives that are driven by that, like those limitations, especially sci-fi. Ours is just, it's like he can do anything. I mean, and therefore the stories don't really come from there. The stories come from examinations of the kind of guy he is.
So more character-driven, essentially.
Yeah, it's emotional and character-driven, and the sci-fi elements, the plot elements, are actually the frosting. It's like bread-flavored frosting on a frosting cake. And so I kind of put that in the same category when it comes to like when we start having like 3-hour conversations about. I think it's great that we have those conversations. We sit there. Mike McMahon is like this huge sci-fi nerd. He wrote his own like Star Trek season 8 book where like he's a huge like fanfic kind of like nerd mind. And we have really, really important conversations about the canon of the show and the continuity. But every single time when we've tried to then take that into the series, we always end up going, well, that conversation's great. It's going to end up representing a crouton of an episode. That's a thrown away line or a picture on a wall. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it did. Thanks.
We don't purposely forget about the canon. I take that stuff very seriously, but we don't start there to do episodes.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Hi. This is actually a question for Dan.
What?
Actually.
So I had read in an interview with Justin that you guys didn't like the idea of doing a time travel episode. And I was wondering if you guys have opened up to the idea at all, and if not, why?
Well, we go back and forth. I believe I believe the biggest reason Justin didn't want to do time travel stuff was actually legal. I think that when your protagonist is derived, there's a paper trail of him deriving from Doc Brown, and his sidekick is a brown-haired, googly-eyed like kid that like keeps going, hey, geez, what are we gonna do? I think the original idea was let's not have them build a DeLorean ever. Because I remember when we talked about the flying car, I typed fade in and they're flying in a car, and Justin's like, can he not have a flying car? And I was like, what do you mean? Oh, and we just designed it so that it's like, well, let's call it a UFO. But I do think we've talked about it since then. I think there's a really good reason to not go into time travel, because that really is like the one plot-based thing that can really screw you. Saying that there's infinite timelines and that anything is therefore possible, that's sort of like, that could be daunting going down the road, because you're going to have to come up with new reasons to make the audience care about anything. But saying that in episode 4 of season 5, the Fonz went back in time and became his own father by having sex with Pinky Tuscadero, means that Happy Days has a shelf life now, and like a bunch of episodes that you can never write, and a lot of like paradoxical questions that are going to come up. So there's a box of time travel stuff always visible in the garage that says time travel stuff, as if to imply that for all that Rick can accomplish, he either doesn't want to go there or it's impossible. Maybe it's impossible. Maybe time travel is truly impossible. I don't know. We'll find out.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hi. What made you decide like a character like Rick like to be alcoholic and a genius and just crazy off the wall?
Well, we knew.
Where did that come from?
Well, we wanted him to be a genius because we wanted him to be able to do anything. I always loved, like, when I was a kid, there was a Richie Rich cartoon, and he had a guy named Professor Keenbean that was with him, and it was like, it was like why would I want to watch a Richie Rich cartoon? The reason is because there was a Pac-Man cartoon that came with it, and a Little Rascals cartoon. Oh boy, these they really got my number. But I was so into Pac-Man that I watched a lot of Richie Rich, and I was like the guy's name is Richie Rich, but he had a professor, and so because how many episodes are you going to do about a kid being rich, even if it is the 80s, and then this professor would come in and go, Richie, I made you these magnet shoes. And I'd be like, now you're talking. So why don't you start there and call the show Professor Keenbean? So I was really into the idea of doing a show about a guy that can do anything. And as for him being an alcoholic, it's right what you know. I mean, I'm not being glib when I say that. There is and we go pretty dark this season. Season 3, it continues to make no bones about diagnosing Rick in that way, like observing it, because it's a really specific thing. You're medicating yourself, you're poisoning yourself, you're proving that you can do anything, even if you are handicapping yourself, and it raises so many unanswerable questions about the human psyche, which is where I like to be, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering if you can bring back any character from season 1 through 2 and season 3, who would it be and why?
Any character from? I'm sorry, because you got specific. If it could bring back any character from season 1 and 2, or 1 or 2.
1 and 2.
Okay. Any character into season 3, who would it be and why? I'm kind of interested to see more Aberdolf Linkler. Just because I think it would be neat. Because the reason that character was created is because I was lecturing the writers, because we had done our, and then Abraham Lincoln comes out, and I go, we all know Lincoln's still hack, right? Because Lincoln at a certain point around Mr. Show times, Dino was a Mr. Show like writer, and it's like sometime around the mid '90s, Lincoln went from the funniest random icon you could bring into a sketch to being okay, now everyone's done it. It's like the name Gary for a random character, or Hitler, and I was lecturing people. I was like, is there some way that you could make Hitler or Lincoln comedically potent again? I was just like, what if you combined them? And I just drew a Lincoln on the board with a swastika on his arm and a little mustache. But it was Ryan Ridley who wrote the line, because it really summed it up. I'm going to emancipate you from your own inferior genes. But yeah, my idea was that he just because it was based on I'm acting like she came up and said, could you please tell us everything about Aberdolf Linkler? The G.I. Joe mythology in the 80s, they had this point where the Cobra soldiers got so tired of Cobra Commander's leadership that they created Serpentor by going and getting the DNA of all the world's great leaders, like Julius Caesar and Attila the Hun, and you can see them just clearly dancing around Hitler, because they're like this evil organization. Let's go get the DNA from all the greatest, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan. Not Hitler. I mean, but
too soon.
But they combined their DNA, which makes no sense, and created Serpentor to lead them. That's a pretty messed up organization when you're like we need a better boss, and none of it. It's not going to be us. Let's everybody combine DNA. Anyways, I just like that idea that Rick at one point had been trying to create a perfectly balanced human being that was also effective. Because for him it was just low maintenance. It's like, what if Lincoln and Hitler were combined? Then you'd have somebody who really didn't get underfoot. Anyways, but my point is, because it's such a hack idea, it would be funny if he became a really deep character, and was well written. So that would be the one I would look forward to.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Sorry that answer was a novel.
let's talk about everyone's favorite character for a minute.
Aberdolf Linkler?
No. When are we seeing Doofus Rick?
Doofus Rick. Doofus, I don't know. Is Doofus like we're by the way we're like 3 episodes into the script phase of season 3. So when I say I don't know if Mr. Poopy Butthole, I don't know if that's don't leave sad. This is a great opportunity to let me know what you'd like on that pizza. If I'm able to remember anything 4 hours from now. But Doofus Rick, there's absolutely no reason he can't come back. I'd like to see him. There's going to be more Citadel of Rick's presence this season, and actually in a way that kind of we're going to bring it back, and also trying to be very careful here. Fundamentally affect it in a way that will continue its existence and broaden its infinite potential for storylines. And we got very excited talking about that stuff.
That's it.
One last thing. Are we ever going to get that art book of Rick and Morty?
Art book? Oh, because Justin keeps saying we should have a book of all the art. Oh, you got to ask Justin. He's back in Burbank working on the show while I'm pretending to work, going to Miami and getting drunk. I'm sure it'll happen. I mean, this thing is this year, by the way, thanks to you guys, the merchandising is really taking off now. So the demand for it is the sole reason. I mean, the Adult Swim very wisely moves really slowly with merchandising typically, but once Hot Topic calls your network for the 5th time and says, "Could you please make a T-shirt? These goth kids that aren't quite goth enough to be goth but are in a mall and are still goth. They really want a free Rick shirt. Who's Rick? What's going on?" And then they really freaked out because that just doesn't happen except for with the big old hits. If you got a talking meatball and you got Rick and Morty, and so I guess it's weird to thank a throng but it's because you're just following your bliss. But I'm just like I really am so. Because Justin is really passionate about merchandise. When they say we're gonna make a Mr. Meeseeks plushie, Justin has so many notes about about not only about making it look like Mr. Meeseeks, but about what makes a quality plushie. Like Justin plus merchandising is gonna make for some really cool stuff. And it's the Pocket Morty's thing is just the beginning, and things are gonna get really cool.
We either have 10 more minutes or 10 hours. She did a 10 sign.
She's actually just a mime.
She's trapped in a box.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Sorry.
you.
I'm going to try to shorten my answers so that nobody feels cheated.
Hi, I'm a very big fan of Rick and Morty. I've been watching since the beginning. And I don't really like to do this, but theorizing. I'm a very big fan of Gravity Falls as well, Alex Hirsch's. And are Gravity Falls and Rick and Morty connected?
Well, they are through that portal that Alex and Justin got together and conspired to have those 3 objects thrown through a portal and then appear in the other show. So we know that much. But when one show has access to infinite worlds in its canon, I guess Happy Days is connected to Rick and Morty. There was a show called Happy Days that I keep referencing. They're connected. I don't know if they take place in the same universe. That's saying something different.
Oh, no, not same universe.
But they're certainly connected. They're literally connected.
We talked about this. The Fonz is the least cool guy in the world, right?
Yeah, he's 4 feet
He
tall.
tries so fucking hard. And he's so insecure.
I don't know if Justin's ever talked about this, but him, Alex Hirsch, Pendleton Ward, and someone else had this weird Yalta Conference Illuminati meeting at my house one night.
I heard of that, where they would have subliminal messages in their shows.
Justin has an attention deficit, but also a surplus of attention. He's a different kind of crazy, and he designed this character, that was going to appear in Gravity Falls, Adventure Time, Rick and Morty, and I think another show, and that it was going to have a hidden decodable message to if you counted the seams in his suspenders and all this crap, and it really fell on its face because it was. But that coffee cup thing, because it came from a place of just spontaneous joy, that was easy. Anyways, I'm glad that he mentioned that, and that I'm not ratting him out.
Thank you, and I need to get one thing clear here. We need a free Rick.
All
Give
right.
the people what they want.
All right, that was your first taste of lukewarm applause. It's, gonna be it's good that you're tasting that early, you know.
Okay, here we go.
A lot of kids down these parts, their dad just takes them in the woods and makes them shoot a deer. Do you have woods here? Just swamp, right? An alligator. Do alligators have blood? Can you like smear it on your face if you hunt an alligator? Pythons are killing the alligators? That's amazing. Who do you root for in that scenario? So, well, you can't root for the pythons. They're winning. We're next. There's only so many gators. All right. Hello, Tigger.
Hello, Dan.
You know that's his daughter's name.
Yeah, my daughter's.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Anyway, regarding your involvement in Kickstarter campaigns, what's the latest status on the pre-production on the Mystery Science Theater reboot with Joel Hodgson, you know of, and will you be using Kickstarter to fund a community movie in the future?
I don't know anything about the MST reboot right now, other than Joel contacted me and said, "Would you be willing to do this? And can I say that you're willing to do it?" And then Justin and I, because rather than both have time taken away from Rick and Morty, Justin said, "Why don't you and I do it as a team?" Which means that they'll just send us one of the movies and we'll time code it with time code on it, and we'll write jokes and send it back in. So easy enough, and that's how it's going to work with the other guest writers, and that's all I know right now. I know that I don't think this is saying anything out of school because so many people have been asking me in the industry side, what is Joel doing with this MST show? Like networks are calling me and going, "You're friends with him. Does he want to put this on TV? We want to put this on TV." And I'm like texting Joel and going, "Do you realize you can you don't have to direct distribute this? You could have meetings with." And he's like, "Yeah, man, I got it. Yeah. I'll let you know if I need your help, but we're dealing with it." So that didn't get a laugh at all. That was a great Joel Hodgson impression.
It's redemption after making fun of that kid's lukewarm applause.
Well, I was helping him out. I was like, that's good. It was like teaching him how to swim. Anyways, I don't know anything about that. The Kickstarter for the community movie, I would honestly say that's probably going to be a huge component when there is a community movie. It's going to be some kind of weird Veronica Mars style thing, right? I saw that Mike Schneider from TV Guide tweet that Donald Glover was doing press for his new TV show and said that if there was a community movie, he'd do it. And then when someone responded to the tweet, has an actor ever said they wouldn't be interested in doing something? Yeah, okay, also not a funny thing for you. All right, Tigger, get out of here. You're making my answers too long.
Happy 94th birthday to Betty White today.
All right. Oh, Betty White's 94, really? Nice.
I didn't know that. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Why'd you break our hearts with Bird Person?
I'm going through a divorce, and so you have to as well. So that's what writers do. We spread our pain. Shit rolls downhill. That was actually a coincidence, or maybe it was feelings I was having unconsciously that led to the divorce. But it's because stories, man, darkness. That's gonna have the opposite effect because it's a steady cam.
All right. He's really trying to make this panel exciting. It's like a roller coaster cam.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thanks for keeping me brief.
Hey, guys. I was wondering, this is a question for both of you.
Well, then get off your phone. Give us your full attention.
I'm reading it.
Okay,
You know that.
I know.
How is it working with Kaufman, and how is his writing process different from yours, for both of you?
Well, we didn't write with him. He had already written this piece 10 years ago. We actually went to see it when it was a play reading. It was a radio play. It was called Theater for the New Ear, and it was the actors sitting at a table reading the script with sound effects and everything. And we were both just blown away by the script, and approached Charlie and said, "We'd like you to do this as stop motion." And we didn't know what that meant really, but then he adapted it for film, and so yeah, we didn't really write with him. We don't know what his writing process is.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
Dino's been friends with Charlie and knows how to talk to him and is less intimidated by him than me. I just hide. Charlie's in the building. Okay, I just take a different route through the building because I don't want to be the reason he had a bad day.
And the last question is, who's responsible for making these excellent music choices, such as Blonde Redhead from Close Encounters of the Red Kind, like out of nowhere?
Yeah, that's all Justin. But he and I have similar musical tastes. Like we both like tortured female voices from the '90s largely. But his modern discovery, Chaos is really exciting. That song when Rick is getting drunk and almost killing himself. I love that song. It's all Justin. Justin loves Mazzy Star. Justin loves Tanya Donnelly, Throwing Muses, Belly, and Chaos.
All right, thank you.
All right, and this is our last question, so no pressure.
Hi, last question for Dan. Does Channel 101 still exist?
Yeah, your question is supposed to be, can this person behind me ask a question? Then everyone would have cheered you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then the kid would have been like, that's what I should have done. No, all right. Boy, tough call. What was Channel 101 still exists? Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, last question. Wink, wink.
Hello, thanks for the amazing work on the show.
He's gonna
I
drop
just started
the ball.
it a few days ago and I just loved it, but I have a friend that I brought into this panel who hasn't started the show before, and I'm curious, how do you explain it to somebody who's new to Rick and Morty?
How
do you explain Rick and Morty to someone who's new to Rick and Morty?
How do you explain it to someone who's sneezed Rick and Morty?
Who hasn't
seen it? That's what I thought it would be. Okay. All right. It's Doctor Who meets Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy meets.
So you're just not going to say the obvious one.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Meets Happy Days. Really?
All right, thank you.
Wait, there's a little Meeseeks. So you can't. There's a whole family. Oh God.
Get on up here. Yeah, actually, before you guys go, we are going to take a family photo. So if you want to come up to the stage, we'll take a photo. And if you are little, please get to the front.
I want to take a photo of just that family, though.
Yeah, you guys can come up.
Not to play favorites.